Jennifer, congratulations on I Am Richard Pryor.
Thank you. Thank you. Very exciting.
So I had the fortune of screening this, and I have a lot of questions I gotta ask because I'm a huge fan of Richard Pryor, the comedian. Now, this documentary really digs deep to Richard Pryor, the person. So in your conversation with Jesse James early on, how much are you willing to share for the documentary?
I was always committed to telling the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but. You know, the good, the bad, the ugly, the warts and all. I wasn't going to shy away. But what works about this documentary is that the warts don't eclipse or overwhelm Richard's artistry, his talent, his genius, his work. And it really focuses on that. And it focuses on the evolution of Richard as an artist, which is what I adore. And again, you know, you see all the warts in there. We're not running from it. I mean, Richard, drugs, the fire, the shooting the car, we talk about it, but it's not going to be the story. The story is what really made Richard Pryor the comedic genius.
Now, that's what I was wondering when I was watching it. Like, were there any parameters that you set up? But I was so fascinated with your, I guess you could say, the story about how you did not know much about his work when you got to know him first time, but that he has some vulnerability when you met him, and then also that there were times when he kind of laid his hands on you. So how was that for you emotionally when you shared that in front of the camera for Jesse?
Well, it's always emotional whenever I talk about Richard. I'm feeling it right now. You know, I sort of, I kind of relive it a lot too, right? And because Richard to me is still very much alive. You know, I talk to him, because I work on his legacy and I'm trustee of the estate. That's my job. And he's always present in my life. He's in my house a lot. It wakes me up at night sometimes. So it is emotional. But, I really was committed from the beginning to tell everything. And again, warts and all. And it is emotional when we go into the dark spots and the darkness. You know, there was darkness. And I rode there with Richard. I hung on like a tick on a hound dog's tail. I wasn't going anywhere. And the truth is, somebody said to me the other day, well then, but you're okay. How are you okay? And Richard had a great saying, and the answer to that is, what doesn't kill you makes you fat. Yeah.
That cracks me up. I'm sorry.
No, but no, it is funny. I mean, and that's about thriving, not just surviving, but really taking everything in and making it make you stronger, which is what Richard did with his own life, right?
Yeah.
He came out of the brothel. He came out of a sad place, but it wasn't always 100% sad. Richard there was great humor in that family. There were wonderful characters. And so he took the good and he took it all. He took the pain and the good and turned it into comedy, which was brilliant of him. That was his brilliance.
How would you describe his material, his jokes, his stand-up comedy? Because I'm wondering, will it resonate in today's social justice warrior, Me Too movement era? Will it land or will it not land?
Oh gosh, it will land more than ever.
Okay.
In fact, in this time right now that we're living in, this horrible Trump era, and I'm going to say it, we need Richard's voice because we are facing a horrible increase in hate crimes, in white supremacists, and xenophobia, racism, misogyny, homophobia, and we need the voice. We need Richard's voice, who fought against injustice, who fought against that, who talked about race in a wonderful way. We need to have this discussion in an open, honest way. We need this anger back. We have to fight against this horrible hate that is like the tsunami overtaking our country. That's not America. Well, it has been America, pardon me. It is the birth defect. Slavery was the birth defect of America. And now we have to have another civil rights movement. Sorry to get so political here, but but Richard would be saying the same damn thing if he were here.
Now, it's fascinating also to see the evolution of TV, how back then they treat Black comedians and how today is. Can we talk a bit about, are we getting to a good place when it comes to media and comedy?
No, I think we have to bust out again. I think, if you ask me, and Richard, first of all, love all comedians. Bob Newhart's album was the first album he stole as a kid. I mean, he appreciated all comics, right? He loved Red Skelton. I mean, but his influences, though, were Lenny Bruce and Moms Mabley. Yeah, exactly. And Red Fox. So, heavy influences, edgy, very edgy. I don't look today and see a lot of edgy comics. I think what we have to do is really, look at Richard as inspiration and say, we have to bust down the doors again. We have to break these molds again. We have to stop being PC. Yes, it's social media. Oh my God, if you say something, the Me Too movement's going to come after me. Oh, if someone's going to come after me, fuck it. There's a delete button, dude. Use your, really just get brave. Go out there, be fearless, work with no net, tell the truth.
I gotta ask you, by the time you met Richard Pryor, as you said in the documentary, he's had a lot of women come through his life. And then at one point also later on, after you left him, and then after he had multiple sclerosis, MS, you also came back in his life. So what is this, that pull of Richard Pryor that he had on you?
It's called love. Love. It's also called loyalty, because when I saw what was happening to him, the locust had descended. When you love someone, you can't let that happen. So I stood up for him. I was his advocate. I did for him when he was sick what he couldn't do for himself. Yeah. So it was not a big, I thought long and hard about it before I moved back. I was living in New York at the time. I knew that Richard's life was always filled with a lot of chaos, a lot of drama, and it would be hard work, but I was up for it, and I'm so glad that I did come back, because it wasn't just, taking care of his legacy and organizing his IP and having to sue when people had stolen it, and which I did and prevailed. But it was about the love, and we got to resurrect the love and take what was good. And the piles of cocaine were gone, the piles of money were gone, and we had to really say what's important here and turn lemons into lemonade. And we did. We did 4 box sets. And, Richard received the Mark Twain Award. He was the first recipient. So we really tried to, and did, I think, achieve, coalescing his legacy, and Richard got to see it before he died.
And don't you think, because I think that it's very important that this documentary actually shows an imperfect man.
Yes.
So not just like this person that we put on pedestal as somebody, an inspiration that's good, but also recognizes that he was human.
That's well said.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't like it when you say this icon is not perfect. They want the perfect icon, right? They want that perfect celebrity or person to whom they look and say, please don't show us the warts. But you know what? You're quite right. None of us is perfect. And to show warts and all is very important, especially with Richard. That was his humanity. And his humanity connected to people by saying, I'm imperfect, dude, so are you, but it's okay. We're lovable. And forgive yourself. It's good.
As I'm running on to my final questions, I gotta ask some of the talking heads that show up in this documentary, Sandra, Mike, and Tiffany. How are they involved? Did you know?
Oh, well, yeah. I asked them to be involved.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, Mike was a friend of the court, so to speak. He knew Richard. And I think Mike has a lot of Richard's DNA. I think he's very similar to Richard. He's a Midwest boy. He tells it like it is, and I really respect him for that. And Tiffany, I adore her. I mean, I think she's going to really go places, not just in terms of success in her career. That's a given. But I think in terms of, growing a real backbone and speaking the truth, I think she's going to go for it. And I love to see that in a woman, especially an African-American woman. That's important. Yeah.
Now, I hear at one point that there was going to be a biopic movie starring Mike Epps.
Oh yeah, no, there is. We're doing a reset on that. It was with Weinstein, and obviously we know what happened to him. Fell by the wayside. But we're doing a reset, new script, and probably an unknown. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So it's probably in the next 2 years?
Yeah. Well, we hope so.
Okay.
I'm working on it assiduously now. So probably in the next year, next 6 months, we'll have a script, and then we'll start going into pre-production.
What do you hope the audience would take away from watching I Am Richard Pryor?
To understand that what he is saying in his message about the truth and about race in America it's important to take note and pay attention, to fight your good fight, to be honest, to be brave, and never stop telling the truth.
Jennifer, thank you for talking to me.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations on the
I
documentary.
enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Yes.